We are uniquely made in God's image. I go back to the corporate world all the time. I do a lot of consulting. I'm amazed that I've grown up in a profession that is entitled human resources. And it's kind of profound right now that people are asking the question, what does it mean to be a human being?
As AI technology continues to get better and better, are we equipping ourselves as humans to be better too? In this highlight from the Mind the Machine podcast, we sit down with Dr. Michael Arena, Dean of the Crowell School of Business at Biola University, to explore one of the biggest questions of our time. What does it really mean to be human in an age of artificial intelligence?
So the very first thing is I think we as believers have this incredible, ministry opportunity to describe what it actually means to be a human being. Mm-hmm. So at the very deepest level, I'll go there first. Yeah. It's like, who are we? Well, you have to have a worldview to be able to get there. Right. And more often than not, people are, I've been amazed at how receptive people are to hear that worldview because of the fear that many of us as human beings are beginning to feel right now. Mm-hmm. And that gets to, yes, we will have to interact with bots. Yes, I am an optimist, and from an economy standpoint, I believe in creative destruction, and jobs will go away, and certainly people will suffer from that, but new jobs will be created. And I'm of the belief that this is much like many other cycles in the past, but there are some differences, and the biggest difference is it's hitting fast, hard, and wide, everybody in society, not like the only people that had access to trains or automobiles in the past. So I think the fear factor, which gets to a fundamental second thing that you said, the fear factor is intense right now.
It really is.
So when I go back to work with companies, even tech companies that are pushing this stuff and mandating it in some cases, the human beings are afraid because everything that we grew up to know and where we find value, and frankly, where we get human dignity, is being threatened right now.
Yeah.
So I think this whole concept of human machine is we've been focusing a lot on the machine side, but not nearly enough on the human side.
Right. Yeah. And I think about even my first experience of having spent 10 years at Qualcomm and then a number of years at Sony on their robotics platform and autonomous driving platforms. We know artificial intelligence has been around really a long time.
Yes.
But it is that generative of 2022 is when we said, wait a second, for the first time, these systems mirror what looks like knowledge. And then that knowledge isn't that the culmination and the highest order of, even when we think about the Bible, right? What was the first, the apple is the first symbol of knowledge, right? And so there's a lot of metaphors in there that really threaten what it means to be human. And I think what I've seen, and I'd love your insight here, is that difference between knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom of lived experience. I've lived and I've learned and I've emotionally experienced things versus I've read and I know things, kind of like a brochure versus a biography or, like lived. So how do you impart that wisdom to the student body and to the students that are looking to round themselves out?
Yeah, it's such an important question. It's the essence of who we Biola are and what we're trying to be to the world, and certainly to these students. And again, I say that humbly with other academic institutions, Christian in particular, that we're partnering with. It's never been more important. A liberal arts, biblically centered education has never been more important, in my opinion. And I think that's for a couple reasons. One is it's easy to get lost in all the model evaluations and to look at them on the human trait level. I mean, frankly, they have surpassed every single human dimension that they've been tested against. In a single mode fashion. Image generation, image scanning, understanding language, understanding math, understand even at the higher order, which just 18 months ago they were struggling with. The algorithms the models are figuring this stuff out, and there are all kinds of ways they're doing that, and I'm fascinated by it. But I think we got to be really careful to get to the core of your question, to not evaluate just the outputs of technology. The difference between us as human beings and technology is we're not a set of outputs. It's the inner experience that we have that we want to protect and maintain.
Right.
And I go back to being image bearers, but also, the very fact that, the machines can mimic our emotions, the machines can mimic our thinking processes. And in some cases, they're surpassing us.
Yeah.
But what they can't mimic is the inner experience that we have.
Right.
What they can't take away is that which is holy, that which is, revelatory, that which is deeply spiritual in our connection to our maker. And the thing that we impress upon all of our students here is, how do we maintain and protect human dignity? And that human dignity as image bearers is the spiritual experience we have between head and soul. Christians would call that, the duality of head and soul, mind and soul. And I think we've got to protect that. We got to remind students, yes, that machine, the Turing test was just beat, not far from, where we are now in San Diego just earlier this year. And it's taken us 50 years to get there.
Right.
And the way it was beat is not based on the intellect that it produced, which was already surpassing human capability, but its ability to mimic our emotions.
Right.
And people selected the AI output 73% of the time over the human created or generated version. But that cannot be mistaken for an inner experience.
No.
Make sure you're subscribed to Mind the Machine podcast, like the video, and leave a comment letting us know what you thought.